Hello, world. Welcome to my podcast, Chats with Baba. Baba is a term that's used to describe elders as grandparents or as such. So this is Chats with Baba. And the purpose of this chat is to inform and empower parents of young Black children. It's applicable to anyone, but I specifically focus on Black children because as an educator, and I look at data in areas of math, science, and reading, our children are behind, and there's no reason for it. And again, the podcast is to acknowledge parents as the first and foremost teachers in the lives of children. So when parents are informed, they're better able to help children to release the natural genius that's in Black children. Black children have untapped and underdeveloped skills, and there are gifts that are there. And the quality of experience and exposure that you as a parent provides lays the foundation for life. That's the foundation for math, the foundation for reading, the foundation for appreciation for learning. And we want to move from miseducation to education. We want you to enable your children to strive for excellence. This has been an interesting week. Colleges, schools throughout the United States is the week of graduation. And this past week, I was invited to speak to the graduating class of students in the field of education. And I said to them, congratulations, you've made it. You know, this is one of the milestones in life, to finish college or to finish high school that leads to college. And at the graduation, some of the words that I shared with them, if you don't mind, was part of the speech that Nelson Mandela gave. And he's given credit for this. But the words really come from an American author by the name of Marianne Williamson from her book, A Return to Love. But the late president of South Africa often recited these words. So bear with me. I just want to read some of them because I think it's appropriate given where we are. And this is what he said. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We asked ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? The question is actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our present automatically liberates others. A couple of sessions ago, I talked about the issue of fear. Fear of things that we were inadequate in and how we pass those on to our children. There's no reason why our children can't do well in anything that they encounter, math, science, literacy, it doesn't matter. Part of what we as parents have to do is to instill in them a love for learning. For example, I've been around in education for more than 50 years, and there's a relatively new discipline that's coming on. It's been around, but we as faculty are asked to upgrade our knowledge and skills in the discipline known as data science. Well, you hear the expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's not exactly true. I've signed up to take some introductory courses in data science. And data science is an interdisciplinary field using scientific methods to better understand data and its use in my particular field. So data science is something that's used in all fields. I guess my point is what my mother instilled in me many, many years ago is to never stop learning, have an appreciation for learning. And once that's there, children are always challenged to learn new stuff. And I want to go back and talk about a term that I've used before, and that is what we do with our children must be intentional. If you want them to be good students, watch what they do when they're playing, and to use that time to observe them, to enrich what they're doing. And what you want to do is to affirm them. Some of what's going on is the building of the mind. And in doing so, you want to ask the kinds of questions that enables them to develop that mind. For example, there's some things that are very obvious: colors, letters, and shapes. Red, blue, green, black, those are very concrete terms. So to ask the child, what color is this? And he or she responds like, this is red. And then you move on. No, you want to stay there. Okay. You want to help stretch his or her mind on any concept that they're learning. Red is a color. Red has many shades, or red can be possibly many different shades. So you want to always look at what is it? How do you use it? What can you do with it? And that just becomes part of an exercise. For example, if any of you were ever any organization of Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, they usually have a ritual. And you said that ritual as you opened your meeting or close your meeting. And that becomes a habit of the mind. One of the things that I study and look at are great coaches, male or female, in any sport. When they bring in a new class or new crop, they always look at how grounded these players are in the basics. Okay. And when they go to camp, they drill on the basics. Think about this when you drive. You know, you don't have to go get the manual. You pick up your keys, you get in the car, you fasten your seatbelt, put the key in the ignition, you turn it on, you look to see if traffic is coming on, and you emerge into traffic. That's a habit. That's a habit of the mind. So turning the clock back to where these young children are, as they are engaging in things, what they are doing is developing habits of the mind. And as they are learning, they're satisfying their own curiosity about the things that they are engaging in. So your charge from these exercises is to help to nurture your child's mind, whatever it is that they're doing. And as you are doing this, you're helping to train the mind. And then training the mind is forming habits. If you remember, I said 4 things with children as they get to the point where they are getting a handle on language and understanding things. You want them to do. You want them to pay attention. You want them to listen. You want them to follow directions. You want them to start and complete a task. And those become habits of the mind, paying attention to what it is that they're engaging in, listening to who's communicating with them, listening to what is being asked of them, follow directions, start something and finish it. Those 4 things, if they can internalize those, that's a matter of disciplining the mind to do those things, and obedience to the mind, discipline the mind and obedience. I'm saying that to say that we have a moral obligation, a moral responsibility to our children to enable them to develop the foundational skills and knowledge base that will give them some assurance of being successful on this path to excellence. About 15 years ago, I heard this report of a professor from Yale talking about young children being expelled from school. I said, no, that's not possible. But nevertheless, when I got home, I was listening to my radio in the car. When I got home, I said, let me look into this. Well, that's the first time I heard the term prison to pipeline, the pipeline to prison. I said, oh no. So for the last 15 years or so, we've been hearing about that, the pipeline to prison. I want to change the purpose. One of the things I would hope that would come out of this podcast is that we change the narrative, not the pipeline to prison, but the pipeline to college. Okay? The pipeline to college, and consider what a pipeline is. And when what flows through the pipeline comes out at the other end. So on the front end, if we can front load knowledge, skills, and disposition relative to learning, then our job as a parent would be well on its way of helping our children to understand the concept of excellence and what it takes to get there. Okay, so if you remember, I said a minute ago that great coaches look to see if ball players, be it basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, swimming, golf, it doesn't matter, to have some assurance that their players are grounded in fundamentals. And fundamentals have been formed through repetition and drill, and they become habits of the mind. Remember, children learn by exploring themselves. Children learn by examining things. And so in the process of examination, there is a natural curiosity of how does this work? What does this do? And they do this through the most natural vehicle for children is play. It's the most natural vehicle for children to learn is play. In it, they are able to examine things. They are able to express themselves, and they are able to awaken this curiosity or this thirst for learning. And again, it's natural. Our role is to spend time observing them and nurturing what you see them engaging themselves in. And they do this without somebody teaching them. You know, they just naturally do this. And some of that play can occur in a host of situations: indoor play, outdoor play, and so forth and so on. But the idea is to nurture what you see them doing. And in doing so, we can contribute to the pipeline to college, not the pipeline to prison. And all of what you're doing is helping young children to expand their minds. When children are engaged in play, it can take place in a variety of places. It can be indoor play where they spend a lot of time, but at the same time, you want to explore the outdoors with them. Outside where you have fresh air and they can see a world that is very different from the indoor world. And generally this happens, especially during the preschool years, where they are sometimes engaging in the sandbox, and that's always really a playful place for children to be. But other than that, what I'm saying is that the world in which children learn, or the worlds in which children learn, are both indoor and outdoor. And I think I want to spend a little bit of time on just identifying some things that, as we talk about language, and we want to call attention to things that are in the environment by identifying things that they see, things that they explore, and we give a name to them, i.e., whether it's a ball, whether it's a truck, and whether it's a mirror, and how those things function, and what you can do with them. So all of what I'm saying is, as you're doing this, you're also helping to expand the child's mind, and he or she are building those things that enable them to go back and retrieve what they've learned as they are exploring other things. So much of what I'll be talking about over the next few weeks has to do with preschool children's preparation. And all that preparation leads to kindergarten and the more formal years as they get older. We want to have an understanding about books. We want to have an understanding about printed matter. We want them to have an understanding of when you're reading, you read from left to right. We understand that printing goes from top to bottom, and we want to understand that books go from front to back. These are all concepts that as you are working or talking or reading to your children, you're also calling attention to turning the page. You're also calling attention to opening the book and things of that nature. So today, I want to kind of at least leave you with the thought of nurturing the mind. For the next couple of podcasts, that's what I'm going to be focusing on: building habits of the mind. And as they build these habits, good habits relative to learning will stay with them. And as we are exploring language and concepts, we will do it within that context. Now, next week, I'm going to have a special guest, one who has written children's books, and she's going to be talking to us about the idea of early literacy and language development and communications. So with that, if you get a chance, visit my website, and you'll see a couple of books there that could be of interest to you. So enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week.